What's up, gamers? Today we are going to be going through the equipment tier list. So I'm going to do the experimental equipments at the end, but I'm going to start with the low noise exhaust. I'm still on my way to 1,000 subscribers, but I'm going to try and hit 500 first because that's kind of how it's going to work anyway. So if you can go down below, hit the subscribe button and help me on my way to 500 subs. I was trying to get there before the 7th, which is my birthday, which we're a little way off. We're about 140 subs or something off, so it doesn't matter. We still got an extra like 200 compared to where I was. So thanks for subscribing, and we'll get straight back into the video. The low noise exhaust for me would be S because I play a lot of light tanks. But if you put it in the game for every other tank, it's not as good. So I'm going to put it in A because it does work on some medium tanks. Like I run it on my Progetto, so it's not the worst at that point. We now have vertical stabilizers. Vertical stabilizers I would put at B, I would say. It's very in the middle. They're just above average, but sort of average. They do help and they make a lot of more tanks playable, so we could maybe move it up to A. We'll move it up to A because as soon as I put them on one of my tanks, I can't remember, I think it was the ST, then it was a great sort of vehicle. Progetto, autoloaders, auto reloaders, Cobra, all things like that, they do kind of want vertical stabilizers. So I guess, yeah, it's a very strong piece of equipment for certain tanks. Spall Liner. Now the Spall Liner is kind of a situational one. And I'm going to put it in situational because if you're going out in the E50s or KV5 or something like that to go and ram, or you're in a platoon with your friend and you're just going to ram, you can stick a Spall Liner on, do extra damage, take less damage, then it's great. Apart from that, it'd be like down in D or C because it's awful. But situational just because of that use. Camo Net, no, wrong one, D. Get rid of the Camo Net, you don't need it. Why would you just go sit in a bush? You don't need a Camo Net to be not spotted. You just go sit in a bush, it's the easiest thing. Even though the light tank. Optics, probably A. They're very strong, you know. If you can outspot the opponent, if you can spot them before they can see you, you're going to shoot them and they're not going to see you. So definitely like that. Commander's vision system. Now the Commander's vision system, very broken, but it's also needed because light tanks would kind of be useless without it. Now it's almost tempting to say maybe it shouldn't be on some tanks than others, but it's not my game, I guess. But it's so strong. It is very, very strong. And if you have CVS on, sometimes you can move that down basically as a light tank. But as a light tank, your setup is going to be low noise exhaust, optics, and Commander's vision system, which brings to me to this. This is the improved radio set. Now, I've got it over here, exactly what it does. Some people might not even know. It goes in the scouting role, so the same as the CVS. So you would lose that, or gives you a plus 1.5 or plus 2 seconds. So the enemy vehicle that is visible to you, and plus or minus 1 second to the duration your vehicle is visible. Now that sounds good, but then you do have to drop either low noise exhaust, CVS, or your optics. Now as a light tank, why would you want the most view range you can possibly get? The further the better. Low noise because you don't want to be spotted and you want to be able to drive through the open at 260 meters, and CVS because it's broken and you want to be able to spot behind bushes, anything. Why would you put that on? It's just useless. You just would never use it ever. You'd never use it. There's no reason to. This is going to be, this is the gun lane drive, isn't it? Yeah. So the gun lane drive, it is actually here, even in the Vert Stabs. 10% aiming time. You don't need it. It's not doing anything. It's pointless. It's really it's so pointless. 10% to what have I got here? I've got a T55A with 1.92 seconds. It's taken off nothing. It goes down to 1.74. There's no point. Who'd want that? No one wants that. Not when you could put something in like gun lane drive, Vert Stabs, and optics, or turbo. Why? Hardening. This thing, let me just read off what it gives you. Plus 8. This is without being in the slot. Most of the time it'd be in the slot, so it's either 10, 65, 20, 10, and minus 65. Plus 10% to hit points, plus 65 to suspension durability, plus 20 to the suspension repair speed percent, plus 10 to the suspension load capacity. So like most of the time, if you put this on a heavy tank, you don't even have to unlock the tracks, which sometimes can be like 40k of XP for the sake of 600,000 credits. And minus 65 to hull damage caused by suspension damage during impact. So, you know, you can ram a bit better. That to me is, it gives, for so much, it just gives you so much, so many different stats all across the whole board. And for a heavy tank is a must. You should always have the improved hardening on. And if you can go, obviously this list doesn't include improved equipment or bounty equipment. It's just that improved hardening should be on every heavy tank that you own. Grousers, I'm going to put it in C. It might be useful on something, but then it's like yeah, again, if you've got a heavy tank, for instance, and it's quite slow, are you going to take it over improved hardening, say gun rammer, vents? Or if you're slow enough, you turbo. You know what I mean? Like, you know, it's you've got to pretty much probably either lose your turbo or vents and put Grousers on. It's not really what I want. Now, improved modification or modified configuration. This basically gives you better module damage. So you've got repair speed percentage would be plus 25 to 35. Internal module durability plus 100 to 150. Internal module durability. Maybe on some of like German tanks, their engines at the front, that always gets knocked out. And fuel tanks for Russian mediums and things like that, always at the front left, or front left as you look at it, front right if you're driving it. You shoot them there, they always get set on fire. But would I take modified configuration to get the load speed penalty of a lost engine power upon the enemy? So the loading speed penalty and loss of engine power upon damaging of modules. Basically your module back. And see, this is just confusing to what they say. To the chance of engine fire is minus 50. But it's like, would you do that? Or would you not just put this on? Because let me read you what the experimental equipment survivability improvement does. So 6% to HP, plus 50, 70, or 100 to internal module durability, depending on if it's level 1 or 3. Suspension to durability, 30, 40, 50. Repair speed, 10, 15, 20. And the exact same thing as to the loading speed penalty and the loss of engine power upon damaging modules percentage, 30, 40, and 50. So you just go and put that on if you wanted it. So in this case, this for me is useless. But this is... No, that can still stay there. This is just useless. Improved rotation mechanism device. Artillery, if you're a sky pig, you know, it's situational. You'll put it on all the time. Stuff like the Borsig, Driller, the what's it called? The WTF Panzer IV. They're the main tanks I can think of right now. You can put it on, and it definitely helps. Let me just give you a quick read if you don't know what it does. I put it in the slot, so this will always be from putting it in the slot. Plus 12.5% to turret traverse speed or gun traverse speed for vehicles with stationary cabins. So that's like T110E3. Definitely it helps. To the whole traverse speed is 12.5%, and dispersion of vehicle movement and traverse as well as during gun traverse and after firing. So if you have to fire, aim, turn a turret, T110E3, anything like that, this is always going to be a solid one to put on. So in the situation where it goes, because you're only going to put it on a certain amount of tanks, you're not going to put it on all the tanks. Now, improved aiming, I'm going to put it in C. Like, you don't really need it, especially with some of the field mods that come in. They're going to kind of give you this as well, and then you can keep the stronger stuff on your tank. Vents, I'm going to put in B, but just because the vents give you what, plus, if you put it in a mode, it's going to be plus 6% to crew efficiency, or plus 5. And that goes across the entire board. So improving everything on your tank 5% is going to be decent all round. It's going to be your damage per minute, your accuracy, your repair speed, your spotting, your camo, all of it is just going to all go up from having vents on. Gun rammer is going to be an S tier. If you have the same tank as someone else, but you've got gun rammer on and they don't, you're doing 10% not in the slot and 11.5% faster reload. This is just better. Gun rammer you pretty much have it on nearly every tank. You want to be putting that DPM up as much as you possibly can. Binos, I'm going to put it in situational for the sake of low tiers 1, 2, 3, 4. I know some of the low tiers can't have stuff on anymore, but 3, 4, 5 sort of time, you should have binos. You will outspot everybody and you can sit still. Just put it on, sit in a bush and put the binos on. Their view range is awful and your binos will just max you out as much as you can. You will spot them. They won't be able to see you. Turbo, I'm going to put turbo in A because it does actually make some unbearable tanks bearable. So looking at you, T95, probably the mouse. What else? It's just really slow and sluggish tanks. You know, turbo, I think with turbo, what they could do is put it on something that only goes a certain speed. So like, if your tank is 30 kilometers or slower, or 35 kilometers and it's a heavy tank and it's slower, you can have turbo. But medium tanks that can already do 50, 55 kilometers an hour. So what have I got? Yet again, I'm on the T55A, I believe. This has a top speed of 50 miles an hour and 20 in reverse. If I put the turbo on, I can go 55 forwards and 23 backwards. It just doesn't need to be. We need to slow the games down a little bit, and that is sort of a way that I feel like we could probably do it. Maybe a certain weight limit and or a certain speed. That's just my idea. Okay, right, I'm going to move over to the experimentals because these obviously have a lot of what they do. Now, I've made one mobility improvement. So that's this one here, and that was tier 3. Hang on, let me get to tier 1 because most people are going to have tier 1s. I've got one tier 3. That's plus 5% to engine power. That's plus 4 to the turret traverse speed or gun traverse speed for vehicles with stationary cabins. Plus 4% to the hull traverse speed. Minus 4% to dispersion during vehicle movement and traverse, as well as during gun traverse and after firing. So that does quite a bit. And plus 4 to the top speed and plus 2 to the reverse speed. So it's almost as powerful as a turbo. It's a little bit less, but it's 4 instead of 5 and 2 instead of 3. So it's only 1 less. But then you get all the other stuff as well, and you get plus 5% to the horsepower, engine power, and then you get the control as well. So things like I've got mine on the WTF Panzer Fear, and that is a monster with it. If things like that tank excel with having this stuff on. That for me, A tier. Probably an A tier thing, but obviously not a lot of people are going to get experimental equipment. Now, Survival Improvement Suite is like I said, it's like Hardening. Don't know, can you put that and Hardening? No, so you can't put Hardening on at the same time. Now, it's something I've never tried because I've never put one on a tank, so I've never actually tried it. But it's Hardening with other stuff. So for me, I'm going to put it up in probably A tier, just because it's very difficult to get. You can't run it on all the tanks. They're so hard to get all the components. I play quite a bit. 1950 is what I've got, and I've done one tier 3, so I've spent a fair amount. That's 400 for level 2, and I believe it's 800 or something like that. Some stupid amount for level. I could only make like 2 full pieces. So now we have fire control. Now I know that I think it's Ayuxin put some on some of his, I want to say Russian mediums, but the fire control system, all it does is aiming speed, plus 6 to aiming speed, and okay, so the fire control system adds plus 6, 7, or 9% to your aiming speed, and does your dispersion as well. So it just makes you a bit more accurate. I'm going to put it in a B tier. Like, it's okay. It's decent. It's a bit better than these. And I'd say it's better than this because it's a bit like Vert Stabs, but it's going to cost you a lot more. So that's what I think should go there. If you have any other opinions on it, please just drop them down in the comments below. Let me know why, what you think. And I'm not always right. Sometimes, I'll say things that are wrong, especially when you're sitting here in the video and you're trying to remember everything about the game. There's a lot to remember. Sometimes I'm going to get things wrong. If I do, point it out. Sometimes I'll pin them as well, just so other people don't then think if I've made a mistake. Yeah, and if you've liked the video, go down below and drop any comment down. I always read them. I pretty much reply to every single person's comment. And if you don't have anything to say, just go along and leave an emoji. But don't forget to hit the subscribe button, and I'll see you next time.